What's he doing, that Dan Cummings fella? I'll tell you what he's doing. Trying to distill the essence of a place. Because for all the flotsam and jetsam that floats past the riverbank, that usually remains the same. But not this time. Birmingham, for me, is a different place from what it was when I was a child. Oswald Bailey, Dr. Martins, blackened St. Martin's, running down the concrete bulwarks, going to the powerhouse or the Fox, in now vanished spaces. We're here, fluttering on a point of transition. Birmingham is changing all around me, like a time-lapse film. There's something about today that seems imported from another season. The kind of haze you get in late April. It feels like I've slipped through a little envelope in time. In and out, from the past to the present. Know what I mean? Looks a bit like the Guggenheim in Bilbao. Not something I thought I'd be saying in Navigation Street. Makes me feel like Bonacolino in Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger's 1946 masterpiece, A Matter of Life and Death, and almost nothing else does. Quite a few things make me feel like David Niven, or Roger Livesey, or Marius Goring, or even Kim Hunter. But Bonacolino, not too many. You know, the bit where he comes up the escalator into heaven and says, "Home was nothing like this." And the guy behind him says, "Mine was." I had a brilliant day out in Leamington Spa about 25 years ago when I walked off the train into a charity shop and found my entire second year reading list and the original cinema programme for Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger's 1946 masterpiece, A Matter of Life and Death. You might want to have a brilliant day out in Leamington Spa yourself soon. If you do, you'll have to come here first, along with the rest of the world when it arrives in Birmingham for the first time. About 25 years ago, I knew a Welshman who changed his name. So you won't know who he was, even if I told you. And he said it was scary arriving in Birmingham for the first time. I used to feel a bit apologetic about it. I don't anymore. 20th century styles, the Razor's Edge, Vasislos, the Snack Bar, Fish Chips and Beans, Mega's Wine Bar, the Brain floating in formaldehyde, carrying my own 9-year-old reflection in the fluorescent glass, one of the great lost dinosaurs of the West Midlands, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, in Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery. It's all gone. It's nowhere to be seen in the undulating, flowing stainless steel reflection. Reddington's Rare Records, Subway, the record shop, not the food outlet, the scary downstairs part at the Virgin store, Andromeda Books, the cinema shop. You know what? Let's stop remembering. Let's just lie down under it, dive down into the deep end and sense the muffling quiet and the rippling light. I don't know what tomorrow's going to make of it, but right now, it's looking good. Hold your horses, hipsters, and let's not forget that the 80s was in some senses such a cultural desert that a visit to the sock shop, which used to occupy the space behind me now, was often a highlight of your day. That said, I did have a lovely yellow and blue stripy pair once. What happened to them? Yet another of those bits of buildings that I'd be quite happy to wear if such a thing were possible. And here's a moment for all those who wept, either inside or out, when they ripped out the Cardiff Arms. What a boozer. I doubt that it was the architect's intention to beautifully evoke Umberto Boccioni's Street Noise Enters the House, but by God they've done it. The Futurists would have loved this place, you know. That's one whole heck of a cycloptic and Hellenic eye, you know, the kind of thing you see painted on the side of ancient Greek helmets. There's a strangely bedraggled grey farmhouse just off the road that goes through Cannock Chase, like something out of a Grant Woods painting with permanently drawn grey lace blinds. I always imagine that it houses a huge grey stick insect praying mantis type thing that only just fits in the building. And joy of joys again, and horror of horrors part 2. Here we are, a huge neon being trapped in the upstairs window of a city centre flat. Birmingham's new Spanish Steps, not the Spanish Bar in the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, or the Spanish Steps in Rome, or for that matter, the largest unsupported dome outside St. Peter's in Rome. Speaking of which, it's the hottest November day since 1946. It's always the hottest or the coldest or the biggest or the smallest or the silliest, isn't it? And whilst we luxuriate in New Birmingham, spare a thought for a moment for that concrete squeeze box over there. Talk about the $6 million man, Evel Knievel action figure, Damon Barwell's digital watch, the Gemini man, Mrs. Ryan's class. Know what I mean? It's like the opening credits of Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads, isn't it? Tinged with poignancy and regret for things past. I suppose I should have said pullulating with wistful longing as well, shouldn't I?
Why is that?
Because it's a nice sentence, isn't it?
You mean like, due to inclement weather, moisture will be transferred to the shopping centre floor.
Yeah.
Please take extra care.
Yeah, or the tow in reverse sign can be seen on the back of many large vehicles. Yeah, you got a point.
I've got you, yeah. Really well written, well thought out sentences. You look a bit like Tony Wilson on Granada TV, you know.
It's that archived future from the past again, rearing its head and breaking into the present. Makes me want to listen to the first 3 Ultravox albums, and visit Tokyo, and look through some of those bags that I've got in the garage as well. Now that I like a lot. It's like that bit in Coraline when reality runs out and slowly becomes whiteness. I like the idea of buildings dissolving whilst they stand. Is that man down there fishing? Or is he interviewing a fish with a long boom microphone for a local news programme? And look at that for a slice of life. The steps, the Black Country Bridge, the Tower Block, and the turning of the seasons. You can almost sense the charity shop and the church about to rise from the water. With his trademark breathtaking precision for the apt deployment of architectural terminology, Harris just alerted me to those copper things on the side of the thing. He's got a point though. fell asleep in a Werner Panton chair and had a dream about a book about Whitesnake next to a book about ZZ Top, nestling in a shelf inside a building modelled on the central atrium from Logan's Run, and the depiction of heaven in Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger's 1947 masterwork, A Matter of Life and Death. When I awoke, everything in my dream had been stolen and replaced with an exact replica. The train station smelled like a museum this morning. When I got on the train, it smelled like a hairdresser's. And now that I'm here in Birmingham, it smells like Venice. I do of course realise that a short film isn't the best medium by which to evoke smell. But I'm like one of those birds, singing hopefully in the dark of a January morning. The building behind me makes me want to listen to Dazzle Ships by Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark and revel in the exquisite taste of my youth. Or maybe Romance of the Telescope Part 2. There isn't a Part 1. I like that, in the same way as I like the fact that there are neoplasticists but no plasticists. Or maybe I'd like to listen to Finchley Central by the New Vaudeville Band. Or perhaps excerpts from a teenage opera by Keith West. No, what I'd really like to do is to live in the universe where all those tracks are by the same band. I had a dream once that I was being followed by famous buildings. Battersea Power Station rippled up out of the Thames, flung itself upside down and stalked towards me on its funnels like a giant spider. Anthony Gormley's Angel of the North zeroed in on me like a Messerschmitt. I can see this creature above me, zeroing into one of my future dreams, flipping up like a huge white plastic boa constrictor, wrapping its coils around me and suffocating me just before I wake. I've heard a lot of differing opinions about the building behind us, but if you'd have shown my 14-year-old self a photograph of it and told me that that was what the bullring would look like when I was grown up, I'd have become cryogenically frozen with excitement there and then.